Hello, hello. Here we are again, coming to you from the Paranormal World Show under the umbrella of Broadcast Team Alpha. And we are coming to you on 44 different platforms around the world. And one of them is Conscious Awakening Network. Gotta go have a look. They got close to 50 different shows over there with all the good stuff. Go to consciousawakeningnetwork.org and have a good look. Become a member and you get some really good look. Okay, I'm coming to you here on live on YouTube also. And if you see us on YouTube, please subscribe. That'll help us a lot. And then I'm going to talk about something here today that's going to be kind of amazing, because I'm going to talk about a UFO crash that nobody talks about. It's one of the best documented UFO crashes there is, but it dates back a little bit to 1989. So over 30 years ago, that's kind of got a lot of dust on it, you know. But I'm also going to show you the document, the Air Force documents that prove it is real. Because we got this from, let me explain the path of the documents that I'm going to talk about. This is the Kalahari Desert crash. That is in the northern part of South Africa and also extends into Botswana. And it came from a Jesuit priest in South Africa. It was faxed to a Jesuit priest in Switzerland and faxed from there to a good friend of mine in Omaha, Nebraska, back when I lived there. Harry Jordan got this. He's a professor at the university. And I remember he got the document from somebody he knew in Switzerland that is a Jesuit priest. And he said, come on over. We gotta talk about this. And we got together, me and several other people, and him, and also Jack Casher is another professor, UFO researcher. He was also the head of MUFON. And the thing about it is that I believe the path, because the priesthood is very much involved in UFO research. And I have a copy of the South African Air Force documents to prove what the Air Force wrote. There is a few videos out there on YouTube that speaks of it, but I have found several faults and errors in those videos that do not coincide with the actual Air Force documents. Now, whether they got extra information or if they just made it up, I don't know. But I'm going to talk about what it says in the actual South African Air Force document and what we know to be true. So I'm going to show you the documents, because that is, I also have some pictures here that's going to be embedded into the video. But it is important that you see I actually have the document. I'm not making this story up from watching other people's videos. This is the front page of the document from South African Air Force that speaks of the incident in detail. Here is another that comes from, South African Air Force document, and there's several pages here as I go through it. And the last page that talks about the summary. There's something that is so hot they wouldn't let us see it because it was redacted. And there is a lot of good stuff. It is classified, top secret, eyes only. And that is one of the pages in there, in the document. There is a picture, or actually a drawing of the hand of the aliens inside the craft. You're going to see the picture of that in the video in a little while. And here is a description of the language that was found in the craft. Uh-oh, that's not working too well. It's hard to see, but you're going to see more in the pitch. And here is, this has nothing to do with the crash directly, but there is everybody that is a UFO researcher probably heard of the top secret document from the White House, Majestic 12. Here's the front page of that document. I got that too. Signed by Harry Truman, basically saying, cover it all up. And I threw in another picture that was so clear. That is kind of fun to look at. This is a picture that was taken in 1989 also in outside of Nashville, Tennessee. And the reason I believe this one is real is because it was given to me personally by Admiral Bethune. This is one picture, and there is another one. So that's what I'm showing you, that I actually have those documents. And the thing is that the writing on the South African document is so small, it's hard to read. So I made some notes from it, from going through it. And I'm going to read from my notes of the facts entailed in the document. And it says, is that on May 7, 1989, naval frigate South African, that's SA, Tafalberg, radioed Cape Town Naval Headquarters reporting a unidentified flying object heading north from towards Africa, coming from the South Polar region. And it is at the speed of 5,748 knots, is what it says in the document. For Europeans, they understand knots, but for us American and elsewhere, where they use miles per hour, it amount to 6,613 miles an hour. It's pretty fast. They didn't have airplanes doing that in 1989. And then it was tracked on the radar by military in South Africa and NORAD, and also the South African airports saw it on the radar. They entered South African airspace at 3:32 p.m. That's Greenwich Mean Time, is that it says on the document. And that is very common to use. In some of those videos, I saw two of them on the YouTube about this incident, is that they say they used local time, and that is not so. I'm looking at the document, they used Greenwich Mean Times, which tell me they made something up. But that's my opinion. There was also reported on a radio station that they had seen something coming up from the Antarctica towards South Africa. And the contact was attempted on the radio, but no answer was received. Valhalla Air Force Base scrambled a Mirage fighter plane and headed south towards the UFO. And the UFO was seen changing direction abruptly, so quick and in so short a distance that since it was doing 6,600 and some miles an hour, it is theoretically impossible for anything we have to make that turn. That was also written up in the document. And it was impossible for us. And at 13:59 Greenwich Mean Time, squadron leader Goosen had visual and radar contact with the UFO. Order was given to fire his experimental aircraft-mounted Thor II laser cannon. That's a very controversial weapon. Nobody admit that they have it, but they have it even today. I have another video showing that there were an aircraft in high altitude shooting down a satellite with it. So they do exist. And they fired at the UFO. Goosen reported several blinding flashes came from the craft after it was hit. At 14:02 Greenwich Mean Time, the UFO was observed losing altitude at about 3,000 foot per minute at an angle of 23 degrees going down and impacted the desert 80 miles north of South African border into the southern part of Botswana. That is the central Kalahari Desert. Squadron leader Goosen ordered to circle the crash site to retrieve until retrieval crew came, and it only took them about 20 minutes to get there. A team of Air Force intelligence officers and medical crew and technical officers were sent to investigate and retrieve the object. Now, the finding was that this was a 50-ton aircraft. And the finding was that it hit the ground, where they hit the ground, it made 150-meter wide and a 12-meter deep crater. Now, I know to most people, we're thinking in our term of airplanes hitting the ground. There's no crater. But when something is moving 6,600 miles an hour, with that 50-ton, the kinetic impact would create a tremendous crater. And around the crash site, there was the rocks in the crater was fused together because of the heat. But the craft had very little damage. Now, that don't make sense to most of us, but we got to remember, this is a technology, and it is a metallic substance that we don't understand. Besides the gravity nullification system that creates that impact has no effect on it because it can stop instantly, because the force field around the craft works on every cell of the body of the occupants, as well where every atomic or every atoms of the metal. So if it stops suddenly, it does not affect it with gravity. Without gravity, there would be no damage. So this is a little bit outside of what we can think would be normal. And also, there were intense magnetic and radioactive radiation coming from it. It was a silvered colored disc. And the object was moved to a classified site in South Africa. And sorry about that. The phone was ringing. It was moved to a classified site, and the crater was filled in, but they found there were actually 3 occupants in the craft, but one of them remained in the craft. They did get into it by prying a markings that was appeared to be a door, and they got the door open, so they came in. And these 2 aliens, they were alive. They seemed to be disoriented. And the preliminary report came from the War Command Office in Pretoria. And the amazing thing about it later that I'm going to read to you is that the physiology of the extraterrestrial beings were closer to a plant than humans. They appeared to sustain life by photosynthesis. They could not live without light, sunlight or artificial light. Now, there were quite a few unsubstantiated stories floating around about this, and some of them may be true, but we don't know, because maybe other people have additional information that I don't have. And here is the document. I'm going to read something from it so you can hear for yourself what they talk about. It's dated May 7. This is the South African Air Force document. Classified, top secret, eyes only. And it is released now, so there's no danger on that. 7th of May 1989, and it is called codename Silver Diamond. And yeah, it also is marked several places here, top secret. And then I'm going to read from the document of the South African Air Force, because this is a little hard to read, so I'm going to page through, and then I'm going to have a magnifying glass ready here in case I need it. So it says copy 1 of 1. And on this page, it says do not divulge. And then it talks about the preliminary report status. Physiological studies at Valhalla Air Force Base regarding alien life forms found aboard craft retrieved from the Kalahari Desert. All information found aboard aircraft's alien spacecraft concerning the evolution of alien life form indicated evolution similar to what we find on Earth prior to the extinction of the dinosaurs because of their reptilian structure. Our scientists formulated the conclusion that these alien beings and the genetics, due to the fact that there are photosynthetic and reptilian form in structure, breeding not yet found to be an issue. The Earth has taken the Earth has taken place from cross-breeding. It's hard to read. Cannot yet be comprehended by physical science as we know it. And then it talks about the indication they're in high degree of adaptability, further physiological and psychological studies performed in South African and also in the United States to this simple but complex structure and behavior that it was presumed to have. This life form cannot function independently without group intelligence to receive information for its action. And also it speaks, according to additional information found aboard the craft retrieved, a separate race is designated to be in contact with them, and that's where they had the redacted part. And in an in-depth study and analysis of the psychological makeup and behavioral actions is advised. Studies of performance of the alien life is still under investigation. And then there's another page back here that speaks a little bit about it. And let me just look at that also and see if I can read it. This is a form of viral and or bacterial cultivation and release as suggested by Dr. Horst, mainstay from the Department of Microbiology at the University of South Africa, Pretoria. We are pending further results regarding solution of the investigation for both South Africa and the United States concerned with the microbial substance will meet the Intergovernmental Intelligence Conference coming up in Pretoria on March 25, 1990. And then there's a signature of Lieutenant General F.S. Visaggio. That's Department of Special Research and Investigation in Pretoria. This document is issued without alterations or corrections. final release. Well, I'm sorry about that, but it was hard to read, and I worked myself through it the best I could. So this is something that nobody talks about. This, I have hardly heard anybody talk about the Kalahari Desert crash, but it is well documented. And I think that UFO researchers out there, they should go and do a little bit digging on their own. Maybe if you have Grok AI on your telephone, ask AI. I have not done that because the AI I have is pretty lousy because it's from Facebook. Try it. Ask AI and see what they say, especially Grok, because they are running their AI through a quantum computer. Quantum computers is known to have access to information from outside of the physical existence. That could turn very interesting for you. And if you do, please put some notes in the comment down below and let me know what you find out. So if you like what you hear, please subscribe. And also, the super chat is open if you want to support us that way. Donate something. That'll be wonderful. So then, I think that's all I have on it. But I would love to see your comments below and see what you think about this, and also what maybe you can hear from AI. So until next time, be good to each other.